Um, Thank you for joining us today. My name is Rosie Albarran-Zeckler. So today I will be presenting on the 2022 internship that we have available to you at both Scripps Research and UF Scripps. The agenda for today's webinar, there are 3 sessions. The first session is the internship programs overview that I'll be giving, followed by a faculty or mentors panel, and finally, a former and current interns panel. So for my part, it is divided in 4 parts, which is I'll be giving an overview of the 2 institutes, followed by the summer program or SURF, the post-bac program or PrEP, and the virtual visitation program or DiVERGE. So first, to give an overview of Scripps, Scripps Research is one of the world's top nonprofit biomedical research organizations, and it is located in La Jolla, California. It expands basic knowledge in the biosciences and uses these fundamental advancements to develop profound innovations that improve well-being. It is ranked as one of the most influential institutions in the world for its impacts on research innovation, and their goal is to accelerate the creation and delivery of medical breakthroughs to better human health around the globe. Scripps is composed of several entities that includes Translational Institute, Caliber, which is the drug development arm, and other key core facilities that support the scientists and the discovery process. In total, Scripps comprises more than 2,500 employees, 200 faculty, 400 postdoctoral fellows, and 350 graduate students. Scripps Research is also committed to training the next generation of leading scientists through their educational and outreach programs. And this is some of the programs that we're going to be discussing today in our webinar. The UF Scripps Biomedical Research Campus is located in Jupiter, Florida, and was founded by Scripps Research in 2004. And we have recently joined University of Florida 6 months ago in April 2022. As like in Scripps, the scientists at UF Scripps Biomedical Research are also working at the exciting interface of chemistry and biology. And the goal is to employ unique and advanced drug discovery tools to address the world's unmet medical needs. And some of the areas that we work on include genetic diseases, infectious diseases, brain disorders, autoimmune diseases, and cancer. And also, like in Scripps, we have several entities that support our scientists. Some of these resources are a state-of-the-art molecular imaging center equipped with a electron microscope, and the Natural Products Discovery Center, where scientists mine the collection for new compounds with potential to treat human disease. And today, we include 500 people that work our campus, with 40 faculty members or principal investigators. UF is home to Scripps Research's SCAGS Graduate School of Chemical and Biological Sciences, which is nationally recognized Ph.D. program in the biomedical sciences. And similar to Scripps Research, we are committed to the development of future scientists through our educational programs. Again, some of the programs that we're going to be discussing today. So I'm going to start first with the Summer Research Undergraduate Fellows Program, or SURF. And this is available at both campuses on Scripps Research in California and UF Scripps in Florida. And it is a 10-week internship program that offers students the opportunity to experience cutting-edge research in one of our 200 laboratories. This will be combined, the 2 institutes, while being mentored by our world-renowned faculty. The goals of this program are to, 1, expose young people to the excitement of conducting cutting-edge research, train students to think critically about the theory and applications of biomedical research, raise awareness of the diverse career opportunities available to scientists, and finally, to increase the number of underrepresented students who consider careers in biomedical research fields. Some of the program activities, in addition for the students working with the scientists in the laboratory, full-time on their independent projects, SURF interns also meet weekly And we have several workshops and seminars, including scientific seminars given by the faculty and the grad students, professional development workshops, and other workshops surrounding how to apply to grad school and life as a grad student, which are given by graduate students themselves. At the end of the summer, they have to present their summer project and a posters in a symposium with a poster. And then there's some extracurricular activities that we have, which are mostly social activities to increase the sense of community between our cohorts. What you need to have to be eligible for the SURF program. So GPA of 3.0 or more. You need to be 16 years of age or older, and you need to be enrolled in a baccalaureate program at a college or university in the US, and a 2-year program, it's okay, 2-year or 4-year program. The program dates are usually from the second week in June to the second week in August. And in California, the dates are a little bit more flexible. In Florida, we want to try to keep it to those dates. The compensation is $6,000 stipend for the 10 weeks. We also offer near campus housing, transportation, and that also includes relocation to either Florida or California and back to their home, and a food allowance. What do you need to include in your application? You need a complete form that you can access by going to our websites, and we'll post the links at some point during the chat. And you also need college transcripts. Unofficial is okay, you don't have to pay for your transcripts. A short essay or a personal statement, 1 to 2 pages is okay. And I have 2 more slides on that, so I'm gonna be adding more information on that. A minimum of 2 letters of recommendation, preferably from faculty if possible, that assess your potential for research, and a CV or a resume. So a little bit more on the personal statements, like I said, and you don't have to be writing these, we're recording these, and also these questions are on our websites on the application instructions, so you can refer to them in there. So some topics that you want to include in your personal statement is why you're interested in this program and in research. If you have research experience, of course, you want to talk a little bit about that, what your goals are for this experience, your career path that you're considering, especially if you're already thinking about research and a PhD. We encourage you to talk about that. What types of research being conducted at Scripps Research and at UF Scripps particularly interest you. And just so you know, all our faculty, they have websites that are available to you, and their profiles are there and what they're working on. So it's always a good thing to go and review those and even read some papers. You also want to say why you're passionate about science and research. And again, if you already have done some research, you probably want to include a little bit of what you did. And some more do's and don'ts on personal and research statements. So some things that you want to do is to talk about your research if you have done so. If not, about your passion. If you haven't done research, then just we want to know why you're passionate about it and why you're looking for this experience. Mention specific faculty. Like I said, you can go to our website and read on their profiles. Describe your journey as a scientist so far, and describe any obstacles that you have overcome. Things that you don't want to do are being too ingenious or innocent by showing how much you love science since maybe you were 5 or you visited a lot of museums. Also that you're going to cure a disease just like by yourself with no help. So you don't want to talk too much about extracurricular activities. So sometimes extracurricular activities can give you some skills that are beneficial in the laboratory, and you can mention those, but you don't want to talk a lot about it. You don't want to be too broad about your research or give a list of technical skills you have mastered. You want to be more focused on the scientific questions. You don't want to talk about a disease in extended family as your drive. And this is because sometimes it is hard to do science and research, and you want to find your own drive, your own passion for coming every day to the lab. And you don't want to dwell on your obstacles. If you have had one semester of that grades, that's fine, and you want to discuss that in your personal statement, but you don't want to dwell on those obstacles. So these are some stats on the 2022 applications. So we got almost 800 applications for both campuses this year, and about 4% were accepted, and that was similar to previous years. So I would say that 4% is consistent. The same thing with the number of females applicants, and of course that we try to reflect the number in the participants, and the same thing for minorities. This year, it was a little bit more than usual for URMs on the Florida campus, but it's usually more than 50% of underrepresented minorities represented in the participants. So now I'm moving into the post-baccalaureate research and education program, or PrEP. And this program is only available at our Jupiter campus in UF Scripps. And so this is an immersive year-long research experience in one of our 40 laboratories. It is for recent bachelor degrees recipients. You want to have graduated within the last 2 years. An emphasis, again, is given toward enrollments of underrepresented groups. This includes students who are first in their family to attend college, and it could also be students who attended colleges that didn't have too much research available to them. This year's application deadline is on March 1, 2023. The application is already open, and the application components are very similar to the SURF application. So I'm not gonna repeat that, but again, make sure that you visit the instructions, because all those questions and tips are added to the instructions. The next program starts on June 12, 2023. But for these, the start date is much more flexible because, of course, this is a whole year. We prefer if you can start by July 1st, because there are some classes that we start in July. But if you don't graduate until the end of the summer, it will be still fine for you to apply. I know that there's some people interested out there. The stipend is $32,000 for the whole year, and health insurance is also included. And again, the application link is here on the screen. So what are some of the goals of the PrEP program? Is for the students to increase their scientific knowledge in general, for them to increase their knowledge in designing experiments and evaluating techniques to conduct biomedical research, their skills in developing data analysis and interpretation, to improve their critical thinking skills, and to develop effective communication skills. Also to raise awareness of the diverse career opportunities available to scientists, and increase the number of underrepresented students who consider careers in the biomedical research field. What are the activities in the PrEP program? 75% of the time, you will spend it in the laboratory or with research-related activities. And then 25% will be on those professional development activities that I mentioned, and some examples again are including journal clubs, research seminars. We also want all the students to apply to fellowships. So we have a workshop that is roughly a month long to apply for the doctoral fellowship application. Participants will complete also what we call an individual development plan, or IDP, with their faculty mentor to identify additional learning goals and opportunities that they can work on during that year and in preparation for grad school. PrEP participants will have several opportunities to practice their science communication skills throughout the year. And all participants will also be required to submit an SF proposal. That was the fellowship that I mentioned in the beginning. And lastly, I'd like to mention our diversity visitation event for research and graduate education, or DiVERGE. The past few years it's been virtual, and the next one, which will be in January, will be virtual as well. What can you expect? This is a 2-day, like I said, virtual visitation program. It's not an internship. The application is live as well, and we'll put the link in the chat as well for you to access it. This is a much simpler application. It is basically a form that you want to put your contact information, and it's not a letter of recommendation is not required, but we do want to have a reference in case we have to contact and narrow the number of participants. Some things that you can expect during these 2 days is our workshops, like for example, how to craft a personal statement that you can use either for an application for the internship program or for the grad program. We also talk a lot about admissions to the grad program, but we also touch on the internship programs as well. We have research talks by our faculty and by our grad students, and we will try to have some breakout rooms with one-on-one with grad students, so you get the feedback that you need in order to prepare for these applications. Also, we'll do some poster presentations by our grad students, so you can learn more about the research that is being done at both institutions. And then, so the application you want to, on this one, you want to get right away on that application because it closes on December 15th. And we hope to be able to tell everybody just before the end of the year if they've been accepted to the program. And again, we encourage underrepresented minorities to apply. There's some contact information on this final slide. This is my email. This is the email where you can learn about the Scripps Research programs in general. And then the two addresses for our education web pages. And from there, you can go into the undergraduate programs or the various programs that I presented today. Are there any questions that I should be answering during this time? We have a little bit of time.
Hey, Rosie. Yes, we have a few that came in through the Q&A that I guess we could answer now live. So one of them is, are you allowed to take academic courses while enrolled in the SURF program?
No, this is a full-time program and you're not allowed to take classes.
Another one related to the SURF program. As part of the SURF application process, will applicants be required to interview with faculty members?
In Florida, if you are part of the final pool, you will be interviewed via Zoom before a final decision is made.
Thank you. One pertinent to the PrEP program, are international students graduated from non-US institutions eligible to apply for PrEP?
No, so far they're not able to apply.
Right, we have a few more coming in. Thank you for the presentation. For the SURF program, does having a journal article puts one at a disadvantage?
I think so. I think that we certainly take students anywhere from freshman year or all the way to senior if they are not going to graduate by that May, right? They need to still be enrolled in college. And so we usually have a pretty balanced group with people who have no research experience to people with research experience, and they're already know that they're going to be applying to a grad program the next cycle. And I think that's the beauty of the SURF program, that you're able to network with all kinds of students like that. So I would encourage you to apply anyways.
I have another question here for the summer internship programs, I guess. Are there geographical restrictions for either program? For example, do applicants need to be located nearby either Scripps Institute location?
For the SURF program?
Yeah, I believe they were referring to the summer internship program.
Yes, I mean, you do have to be relocated, but we will pay for your relocation. It's just that you have the time to spend those 10 weeks in that location and work full-time in the laboratories. But we take care of relocation if necessary.
Another one here, more focused towards UF Scripps. Besides the SURF program, are there any other opportunities for undergraduate students at UF Scripps? If so, what is the best point of contact?
I think that the best point of contact will still be me, although you could email faculty directly. So depending, if you are local, there are more opportunities for long-term that you have to be relocated. It depends if you have funding. So feel free to email me.
Yes, can I answer that question? For sure, there are opportunities. And yes, if you want to work in the lab, you need to be here at least some of the time, say on the week, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, or something like this. But there might also be opportunities to do research remotely. And that'll depend on the lab.
Yeah.
And then pertaining, again, while we're on the topic of the SERV program and summer internships, will the housing be on campus or do we have to find an apartment nearby?
For the SERV program, we provide the housing, and it's near campus. We make sure that it's walking distance. So you don't, as a SERV intern, you don't have to find your housing. As a postbac for prep, you will have to find your housing, but there's plenty of housing near campus.
I'll answer this one. Somebody inquired about when does the internship application open for Scripps Research in La Jolla. For the SERV program, it's currently live, and in the chat section, Jeremy has posted the links for the application for both the SERV program at UF Scripps and DiVERGE, and there's also a link for the Scripps Research one in California.
Thank you.
Take a look. Let's go at a few more. Well, one of the questions is, can we apply to several programs at the same time? So I guess we could address being considered about La Jolla and UF Scripps programs. So.
Oh yes, for sure. Please apply to both programs. So there are two applications, like I said, for one for California, one for Florida. So of course, I encourage you to do that. Also, you can apply to DiVERGE, and while you're also preparing your SERV application, I would say that for prep, that's a little bit different because that means that you would have graduated, and that's why, or you're planning to graduate before May. So that will be one single application.
There's another question pertaining to the SERV application itself. Do we have to include all universities attended or only where degrees have been or are expected to be awarded?
Normally we ask for all that you have attended. So and again, unofficial transcripts are okay. You don't have to pay to get those transcripts. What you don't have to include necessarily is the high school. I've seen students trying to add their transcript from high school. You don't have to do
that. And maybe I want to add one thing to explain that. If you don't do that, then you will have a hole in your CV, right? You'll be graduated from high school on some day, right? And then there will be nothing until somehow magically you show up in some school. So that's always bad. You need to see your resume or your CV needs to document your entire educational and employment history. Otherwise, there's questions like, what did he do, right? Does that make sense, hopefully?
Yes.
Other questions are pertaining to the application process. One would be, where can we find available information about the labs that offer internships for the SERV program?
So if you go to either of our web pages, and I don't know if those links Jeremy added in the chat, but I can do it in a minute. In both for Scripps Research and UF Scripps, there's a section that is departments and faculty, and you can see all the laboratories and learn about what everyone is doing there. That's the question. Do you think that answers the question?
Yeah. And I guess one thing to say would be about the matching, of course, in the application, as Rosie mentioned, you would list who you'd be interested in working, and we would work within that pool of your, research areas of interest and faculty of interest to match you in a lab if you're accepted.
Yes, we try to do that. And one thing is that if you're accepted, we will ask to give us 2 or 3 names of faculty that you like to work with. And we try as much as we can to place you in one of those laboratories.
I think you may have mentioned this, but just to reiterate, if I apply for SURF at both campuses, can I use the same recommendation letters and personal statements?
I've been telling yes to the students because I understand that there's another step, it's another application. So yes, I feel comfortable with that.
I guess we'll do just 1 or 2 more. I have one asking when will the admissions committee start to review the applications? And I guess we can address sort of the timeline of what it looks like from applying to first.
For SURF, certainly we start looking at the applications the next day, I guess February 16, and narrowing the pool. And I, at least for the Florida campus, I give the applications as soon as I can to Dr. Carson, where you're gonna meet on the next session of the webinar. And from there, we try to narrow it in those last couple of weeks in February. By early March, you should have heard if you are invited for an interview. And by mid-March, I would say, like most people already know.
Right, and let me take a look for one more. Oh, is the SURF internship available for all majors or just biomedical related majors?
No, all majors in STEM. Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure what they consider biomedical, but your major doesn't need to be biomedical. It could be biology, physics, bioinformatics, any of that.
All right, so I guess I can start throwing it over to Shannon, who will be moderating the panel with some of our faculty and participating mentors for our internship programs.
Thank you so much.